Did you make a mistake? This voice is Liang Jing's. I recognized it, but it seems that the house is really not his. So Miss Song will give you some time to move your things out. Otherwise we'll call the police. Uncle Lu doesn't give me any face at all. I don't plan to call the police. After all, it's too troublesome to take a statement. And a few ladies, please pay attention to your wording. Miss Song Cici has nothing to do with the Tang Group. Uncle Lu is so awesome. He must give you a raise. There were bursts of discussions in the headphones, which made me a little annoyed. However, Song Cici's face should have been completely lost. How is it possible? There are so many things in there, how can I move them all? Uncle Lu asked the others to leave and gave him one night. He must move out tomorrow morning. Looking at Ji Yan who was walking towards me, I hung up the phone immediately after I finished speaking. I woke you up. Looking at him who seemed to be half awake, I wanted to rub his head, but I didn't have the courage. It wasn't that the matter was settled. He poured me a glass of water and took one for himself. Well, it was almost done. When I thought about Song Cici embarrassing herself in front of so many people, I felt good. Didn't you say you invited me to watch? Why didn't you wake me up for the excitement? Didn't I see that you were too tired, so I didn't ask you? Do you want to live here? If not, let's go. Ji Yan nodded, then took me away. The door opposite was half closed and crackling sounds came. It seems that we have to find someone to take a look tomorrow. Song Cici has to pay for the broken things. When the car drove out of the community, I saw Liang Jing standing with a few people talking about something. I couldn't hear it clearly, but looking at the disgusted expression, they should be discussing Song Cici. I'm in a very good mood now. The property told me the next day that Song Cici had moved out. I didn't answer any of his calls. In a week, I learned a lot of knowledge from Ji Yan. He really didn't keep anything to himself and taught me everything. My mother asked me to go back to her company to practice. I said goodbye to her in tears. Obviously, I only wanted to spend money and not make money. She stared at me for a while, her eyes deepened a little, her lips moved, but in the end she said nothing. After sending me to my mother's company, she watched me leave. She stayed for a while before leaving. I was in a place where he couldn't see, watching his car drive into the traffic. I sighed. It has come to this, and he still can't help but not say anything. Let's see who can hold it back. Well, I am useless. I am deeply attracted to him again. Tang Ruan, what are you doing here? Zhao Wenxuan looked at me as if he was guarding against a thief. I am very curious why he is here, with a work badge hanging around his neck. You are interning here, he is a senior. Instead of going back to your own company, you come to my house for internship. His expression instantly became a little proud. Well, what are you doing here, you idiot? This is my company, why do you care what I do? Why do you care what I do? Stay out of the business of beauties. And then you walk towards my mother's private elevator. He wanted to come over to stop me, but that's not the one for you to sit in. Before I finished speaking, a senior executive of the company saw me and said, Ruan, I haven't seen you for a long time. Are you here to see your mother? Yes, Uncle Lu. I smiled politely. Well, go ahead then. We just finished the meeting. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. After that, he hurriedly left with a few employees, and I continued to walk towards the elevator. When the door closed, I saw Zhao Wenxuan's face full of shock. After that, Zhao Wenxuan he kept calling and messaging me, so I blacklisted him. When I heard the news that Song Cici was getting married, I was a little surprised. Neither of them is a good person. I just don't know who will win in the end. After class, Ji1 and I were discussing what to eat, and Zhao Wenxuan showed up again. Tang Ruan, why didn't you tell me your identity? He accused me angrily. He was wearing a couple watch with Song Cici, and the price was more than half of the one I gave him before. You didn't ask, so I felt innocent. He didn't ask me. Should I take the initiative to tell him that I am the eldest daughter of the Tang Group? Are you crazy? If I don't ask, you won't tell me. If you tell me, I won't hear this. My face has become very cold. I interrupted him directly. Nothing will happen, you won't break up with me, you're thinking too much. If you didn't mention it to me, I would have planned to find you. I was blind to agree to be with you before. But you and Song Cici are a good match now. A scumbag and a bitch are a perfect match, aren't they? After saying that, I pulled Ji1 away. I just saw someone taking a video. I don't know if they can still get married. If not, I will lose a lot. Amitabha, may the Buddha bless you. I often go to my mother's company to help out during this period, and occasionally meet a group of interns like Zhao Wenxuan. Not to mention that some of them are good-looking and have a better work attitude than him. But I don't know what Ji Yan is doing recently. What? I haven't heard from him for a long time. Well, don't you know? My brother was recently dragged by my aunt to go on a blind date. Ji1 was playing with his mobile phone and replied to me without even looking up. I was instantly petrified and didn't come back to my senses for a long time. After a few minutes, I slowly opened my mouth and asked, so what's going on? Does he like any of them? Ji1 put away his mobile phone, propped up his chin and analyzed with me. The previous ones didn't seem to be very good, but the recent Miss Chan seemed not bad. Listening to my aunt chatting with my mother, I felt hopeful. For a moment I felt cold all over. The room was obviously warm, but I couldn't feel any warmth, so it was just wishful thinking on my part. Since it's true, treat me as your sister. Then congratulations, you'll have a sister-in-law soon. I quickly calmed down and talked to him with a smile, then changed the subject and stopped talking about him. Song Sisi and Zhao Wenxuan got the marriage certificate first. When Song Sisi brought him back this time, I was sitting next to my mother. Zhao Wenxuan looked at me warmly, but with a hint of hatred. These are what Song Wintao left for you. You can see for yourself. The house and other things have been transferred, and the money is also on this card. As my mother said this, she handed all the things to him and told him to move your household registration out when he has time. He is gone and you have nothing to do with us anymore. My mother looked at Song Sisi and said word by word. I asked my mother if she hated Song Sisi. She said that she hated him before because he took away my father's love, but now no more hatred. Song Sisi is also very pitiful. Song Wintao loves someone else and relies on him for the sense of accomplishment he gets from living, to satisfy his ridiculous vanity and machismo. And these things my mother and I can't give him because without him we can live and live better. Song Sisi looked at the things in the file bag, her expression changing from one thing to another. She always felt that it was impossible for my father to leave only so few things for him. But some people are just not satisfied. I remember when he first came to my house he was skinny and small, he ate voraciously, and he could be happy for a long time if he was given some pocket money, but you see people always change. They have obviously got a lot, but still want things that don't belong to. I thought he had something. The company he founded was all invested by me. Guess why he didn't leave it to you? Because you are responsible for a life. When Song Sisi heard this, her face turned pale. How did you know? My mother smiled and told me, originally this company was really left to you, but I told her that she could have had a son, but was ruined by her naive daughter. I was a little surprised. What does this mean? Has my mother ever been pregnant? How come I didn't know? My mother patted my hands, but her eyes were still on Song Sisi. How could a 7 or 8-year-old child be so scheming? She even didn't let go of her own younger brother. Song Sisi was completely panicked now. Zhao Wenxuan probably didn't expect that Song Sisi, who pretended to be well-behaved and lovely in front of him, had a vicious mind since childhood, so he changed his will overnight. How could he let you go? Who made him lose his heir? But maybe it's because he's old and kind. He also left you a lot of things. Be content. Song Sisi grabbed the sofa tightly. It's not my fault. It was clearly agreed that having me is enough. Why did you give birth to another one? I really don't know these things, but I'm not interested. After all, it has nothing to do with me. People who don't have ability always want to take shortcuts. Don't end up with nothing. When my mother said this, she glanced at Zhao Wenxuan. In her eyes, Zhao Wenxuan and Song Wintao are the same type of people. Zhao Wenxuan also realized when we arrived. His face turned pale and his expression became a little ferocious. This time I was the one who sent them out. I was very happy to create some conflicts for them. Goodbye, I said to them with a smile, but my eyes were looking at Zhao Wenxuan. Song Sisi took Zhao Wenxuan's hand and looked at me viciously. Tang Ruan is my husband now. We are already married. Do you still want to be a mistress? He is good at putting the blame on others. Aren't you talking about yourself as a mistress? How dare you say that you didn't know he was my boyfriend when you hooked up with him? I still looked at them with a smile. When Zhao Wenxuan heard this, he saw that Song Sisi's expression was a little angry. He wanted to say something else, but heard the sound of a car coming from the side. I turned my head and saw Ji Yan and a woman. They should be the Miss Chan that Ji Wen mentioned. Song Sisi even pulled Zhao Wenxuan to explain. I didn't know if Song Sisi really liked him or wanted to grab this life-saving straw. Song Sisi, listen to me. There has always been something that I, Tang Ruan, don't want. If someone else can take it away, I will never look at it again. The man also said, too lazy to look at them. I gathered my shawl and turned to go home. It seems that Ji Wen is really going to have a sister-in-law. In the evening, Ji Yan's mother called and asked us to go to his house for dinner. It seems that the Ji family and the Chun family are planning to marry this time. When my mother said this, she also glanced at me, and I nodded and didn't want to talk. I didn't want to go at first, but it was my mother who insisted on dragging me to go. It was Ji Yan who opened the door. I was holding the gift my mother wanted to give me, which was a little heavy. Ji Yan glanced at me, then took the thing from my hand. I shook my sore hand and said, "Thank you, brother Ji Yan." Then Ji Yan's body paused. I didn't look at him and retreated behind my mother. He was finally a little polite. If you call me brother Ji Yan's name again in the future, I will show you how I will deal with you. My mother poked my head. I know I won't do it again in the future. I touched the place where he poked. He really thought I was a child and would take action at any time. My mother smiled and talked to Ji Yan, and I followed behind them. There were several people sitting in the living room. I greeted them one by one, and then went to Ji Yan's room. The girl who got off Yan's car smiled and nodded as a greeting. Now looking at her closely, I suddenly feel that she looks familiar, but I can't remember where I have seen her before. I don't want to think about it anymore. I glanced around and when I saw Ji Yan walking towards my seat, I quickly walked to Ji Wen and sat down. "Isn't there a seat over there? Why are you squeezing with me?" he said, but he still made room for me. "I just want to sit with you," he said with confidence. The adults next to us looked at us and smiled helplessly. I leaned on Ji Wen and watched him watch videos. I watched Ji Yan and Miss Chan talking out of the corner of my eye. Fortunately, others didn't know that we were together, otherwise it would be so embarrassing now. I felt a little sad and swore secretly that I would go back learn from my mother how to run a company. It happened that Ji-won saw a video of Wang Baochuan digging wild vegetables and complained to me in a low voice. I looked at Wang Baochuan digging wild vegetables in the video with sparkling eyes, curled my lips and replied casually, "How can love be about money?" It happened that everyone's voices were low at this time, so my voice seemed very loud. Everyone's eyes were shifted to me. How could she be hurt by that guy? She finally knew that love is not as good as money. Now that she has this realization, she can go into the company to help. When my mother said this, her face was full of words, and her eyes happened to meet Ji Yan's. His face looked a little cold, which made me confused, as if I had done something to let him down, and I was afraid that being misunderstood by the people next to him. I turned my eyes away first and then watched Ji when watching videos. During the meal, I sat in the seat farthest from Ji Yan. He looked at me with a complicated look, which was a bit regrettable. The dishes in front of me were not my favorites. The adults were talking at the table. I lowered my head to eat the rice in the bowl, wanting to finish it quickly and escape from here. After finishing the meal quickly, Ji-won and I went out for a walk. I heard that Song Sisi and Zhao Wenxuan were married. I pulled my scarf. Well, because the things my dad left for him, I have to give them to him after he gets married. No wonder I was wondering why he got married suddenly. Turned out to be for money. It's disgusting. Ji-won showed a disgusted expression on his face. After he finished speaking, he turned his head and stared at me, which made me feel a little uncomfortable. "Zizai, why are you looking at me like that? Is there something on my face?" She raised her hand and touched him, shook her head. "I don't know what you were thinking at the beginning. You actually agreed to go out with him. Your face is wasted." My thought suddenly went back to a few months ago. Why was I with Zhao Wenxuan? It was because at that time Ji Yan and I had just broken up for a while when he agreed to give it a try with me. I was so happy, although he was busy, but I could go to accompany him when I didn't have classes. At first I thought it was really good, but after experiencing that every time we went to the movies, he had something to leave to eat in the middle and had no time to accompany me, I became dissatisfied. "I'm really busy recently. I'll accompany me after I'm done with this period of work." Ji Yan pinched the bridge of her nose. Looking at me helplessly, I explained, "Enough is enough. I know you are busy in the company, but are you so busy that you don't even have time to eat?" He stood up and wanted to hug me, but I took a few steps back. "Let's break up. It was because of my persistence that you agreed to be together." I wiped my tears and looked at Ji Yan and said. He seemed a little panicked and at a loss, but what he said in the next second made me even more disappointed. "Don't be a child all the time, okay? I'm really busy recently." I also said it at the beginning. "You said it didn't matter. What are you making a fuss about now? Just treat it as me making a fuss. I'm not kidding. Let's break up." "Yes, I deserve it." When I left his company, I looked back at him but didn't chase him. After returning to school, Zhao Wenxuan has been pursuing me relentlessly. Thinking of what Ji Yan said, I instantly had a rebellious mentality and then agreed. So half a month after the breakup, I found the next one, but I really didn't know people well. Both relationships failed within a year. I was with Ji Yan and Ji-won didn't know about this either. It's all in the past. What's there to say? I looked at the lights emitting warm yellow light and thought of the way Ji Yan and Chun-yi talked. A picture flashed through my mind. It was when I went out to play in the first year of high school, and then secretly went to find Ji Yan. I saw Ji Yan, who was always gentle to Ji-won and me, standing with a group of friends. The person next to her was Chun-yi. I secretly watched them for a long time and felt that they were a good match, but I had never heard Ji Yan mention it in advance. Now I finally know why she looks so familiar. Turns out that Chun-yi is the girl from that time. The two of them are still a perfect match. During the 2 months that Ji Yan and I were in love, we spent no more than half a month together. Even after we broke up, the way we got along was still the same as before. I was somewhat thankful that I did not pester her and make things too ugly. I did not listen to what Ji-won said along the way. I was a little dazed. After walking for a long time, I returned to the door of Ji's house. This time I did not go in but said goodbye to Ji-won and went back to my home. After that night, I never met Ji Yan again. I ran between school and company every day. Everyone in the company knew my identity. They were quite critical of me at first, but they were convinced in the end. Yes, I grew up in a family full of intrigue. How could I be a naive person who knows nothing? I was very busy for the next week, and finally relaxed after handing in a plan that satisfied my mother. After my mother knew that Zhao Wenxuan was interning in the company, she put me in as well. I thought that although Zhao Wenxuan was not a good person, he still had some strength. After all, I thought that people who graduated from our school should be good. Unfortunately, he slapped me in the face this time. His planning proposal was the same as that of another intern. Can be said that 90% of them were similar. Zhao Wenxuan's was even a little more perfect than the other one. While he was waiting for praise with a smug look on his face, the other intern's face turned pale with anxiety. Now that something like this has happened, he is a little at a loss. I glanced at the pile of documents in front of me, and then looked at Zhao Wenxuan. "Are you sure you made this plan?" The others looked at each other. After all, I was the only one who had read all the documents. When he heard me ask this, Zhao Wenxuan instantly looked at me and raised his voice. Of course I did it. I stayed up all night to write it. Tang Ruan, you can't choose Cece just because I broke up with you and question me like this. I looked at Zhao Wenxuan, who turned up the volume to cover up himself because of his guilty conscience and didn't forget to flatter himself. I tapped 2 documents with my fingers, interrupting the whispers of others. The intern's face became uglier than before. I guess he thought I would favor Zhao Wenxuan. After all, what I said just now, according to normal people, understanding means that I love but cannot have it. I made things difficult for him and asked him one last time, "Are you sure you wrote it?" My patience was gradually running out. He looked at me for a few seconds, then glanced at the intern and said, "I wrote it. There is no evidence. Why do you think I plagiarized it?" Before I finished speaking, he reacted on his own. I smiled. I didn't say he plagiarized, I just asked if he wrote it. He confessed himself. "I gave you a chance but you didn't want it." Then he threw the USB flash drive on the table. "Why don't you take a look at what's inside before you say anything? You don't know that the surveillance camera was just repaired last night. The surveillance camera was broken and no one came to fix it. I called them yesterday and scolded them. Finally someone came. I didn't expect to see a wonderful scene. Just filmed it." When Zhao Wenxuan heard what I said, his face changed instantly. He told the whole story to other supervisors. Everyone's eyes had changed when they looked at Zhao Wenxuan. I sat in the main seat, looking at his expression and felt a little happy. I wondered which company would dare to hire such a person. When I left, the intern caught up with me and said thank you to me. I smiled. This is what I should do. After Zhao Wenxuan left the company, I still worked hard and found some fun in it. When Song Cece brought him to my house again, it was at school. Song Cece stopped me in front of many people. "Tang Ruan, do you want to see him? Just because he is with me, you let him lose his job." I looked at Zhao Wenxuan hiding behind Song Cece and smiled. "He is this, I told you that. Then why don't you ask him what he did and why he was fired? It's not you because you are jealous that I have been spoiled by my father since I was a child, and jealous that I took Zhao Wenxuan away, so now you are taking revenge on me." Seeing that there are more and more onlookers, I suddenly don't want to let them go. Don't you feel ashamed for an illegitimate daughter to say these things? Why do you think it's glorious that your mother is a mistress, so you also inherited his habit of being a mistress? Didn't Song Cece think that I wouldn't expose this matter? But now Song Wentao is dead, who can protect her? It turns out to be an illegitimate daughter. I thought she was really the daughter of Tang Group. "Miss, so what happened?" "I'll go there. According to your idea, Tang Ruan's surname is Tang. Combined with what she just said, she is the daughter of Tang Group. Jean, so Loki, unlike Song Cece, an illegitimate daughter who has the nerve to use someone else's name. So shameless." Listening to the discussions around her, Song Cece's face turned ugly. "But I haven't had enough fun. You don't know your husband plagiarized the fruits of other people's labor. I found out and fired him directly." Zhao Wenxuan stared at me. Couldn't believe that I actually said it. "Don't worry. I still don't like this kind of man. What you value most is what I care least about. They are all." I leaned close to Song Cece's ear and whispered, "I know he can understand what I said, who they are. I'm not a saint, a naive, and I don't fight back after being hurt by others." When I left, I saw my 2 roommates looking at me in the crowd. He looked at me with a bad expression. I smiled and left. Anyway, we wouldn't have much interaction in the future. Soon the incident was uploaded to Tieba, but was accidentally posted on WB, which caused a lot of discussion. I took a look. Fortunately, most people had eyes. When I received Ji Yan's call, I was about to go to bed. Looking at the flashing screen, I answered the phone at the last second before hanging up. I saw what happened on the internet. Do I need to deal with it? His voice was gentle and I was a little dazed. Suddenly, I felt that Ji Yan still had some scumbag nature. He already had someone he liked, but he could still call to help me deal with things. It's okay, everyone will forget about it in 2 days. Anyway, I was planning to go abroad and these things didn't affect me much. There was a pause and no sound came. I thought he hung up and was about to put down the phone and go to sleep, but I heard his voice again. "What are you doing recently? I haven't seen you come to see Ji1 for a long time. I am so sleepy now and just want to go to bed quickly, so I plan to make a quick decision. Can't I see him at school? Is there anything else? If not, hang up first. I am so sleepy." After a few seconds, his low voice came. "Well, it's okay, go to sleep. Good night." I thought he would hang up, so I put the phone next to him and went to sleep. When I woke up the next day and saw that the phone was turned off, I didn't think much about it. After the Song Cece incident, Liang Jing was hesitant to speak when he saw me. I knew what he wanted to say, but it didn't matter anymore. For someone like him, I think it's best to be a stranger. He sent me an apology message, and then asked if I was the one who asked the property management to look for Song Cece that night. I replied, yes. I just smiled at his subsequent messages. You see, as long as you have money, they don't care about anything else. I told my mother about my going abroad, and he agreed without a second thought. After all, I told him that his company would be handed over to me in the future, and he wouldn't have to worry about me being lazy and eating nothing. He smiled, then patted my shoulder with relief. The procedures were handled very quickly. I told Ji-Wen 2 days before I went abroad. He was a little shocked and kept asking questions. When I finally knew my thoughts, he just hummed a few times, and then told me to take care of myself. I smiled and agreed to him, and then continued to chat with him. Did you know that my brother and Chun Yi-jia were actually college classmates? Ji-won shared a little secret with me. When I heard him say that, I looked out the window and thought that I had known it for a long time. Although I didn't plan to continue to like him, I still felt sad when I thought about it. Moreover, Chun Yi-jia had a boyfriend, and her boyfriend was my brother's roommate. When I heard this, I was stunned. My first thought was that it was impossible, but Ji-won said a lot. He said that it was Chun Yi's sister who originally wanted Ji-yen to go on a blind date, but Ji-yen refused. After listening for a long time, I knew that Chun Yi had a boyfriend. Did Ji-yen still like him? The more I thought about it, the sadder I felt. I would rather like someone with a boyfriend than me. Ji-yen, you big pig's hoof. Before I leave, Song Sisi came again. I saw that she still didn't give up and still wanted to compete with me for the family property. Seeing her furious look, I felt a little gloating. I showed her the equity transfer document. Seeing her crying and laughing, I felt no ripples in my heart. Song Sisi, have you forgotten that your last name is Song? Although you are my father's daughter, you are not my mother's daughter. The company belongs to my Tang family. What do you have to compete with me? I looked at the time. I have to catch a plane. So, my dear sister, the family property is mine. You have to hurry. Although Zhao Wenxuan's company is not big, every little bit counts. I smiled and leaned into Song Sisi's ear and said, this is the first time I called her sister, and it will be the last time. After that, I didn't look at him again. Here I come to the wonderful life. Although it is tiring to run a company, money can soothe my wounded heart. When I went through security, I looked back at the place where I grew up. See you 2 years later. I didn't expect to see Ji-yen on the plane. Tang, it was my fault before. Can you give me another chance? He tilted his head and looked at me with a smile on his face, but his eyes were a little cautious. I stared at him for a while, then turned my head away pretending to be calm. No, I have to inherit the family property in the future, and have no time to fall in love. Besides, I will have money and beauty in the future. What kind of man does Yen want? Without hearing what I said, the smile on Ji-Yan's face disappeared, and she held my shoulders tightly with both hands. Who else do you want to find? You have seen me naked before. Don't you want to be responsible? I was speechless when he mentioned this. What do you mean by naked? Wasn't it covered by a towel? And we didn't touch each other enough. Let's have a relationship and see what's wrong. Why are you so stingy? I pouted. He laughed softly and touched my head. I was wrong. I will spend more time with you in the future. Please forgive me. I will be responsible for making money to support the family, and you will be responsible for being beautiful. What you said before hurt me so much. I didn't want to be in front of him. He suddenly buried his head on my shoulder. It's my fault. I heard you say break up at that time, and I was so angry that I said something without thinking. Give me another chance, okay? Looking at the white clouds that were within reach outside, I pretended to be reserved. Let's see how you perform. After all, there are so many handsome guys abroad. I don't know if I can control myself. Ji-Yan's face changed again and again, and finally pinched my face helplessly. I was in my heart. I silently complained to myself, luckily Ji-Yan is rich, and I am rich too, otherwise I can't go digging wild vegetables. After all, I can't tell the varieties apart. In the next 3 years, Ji-Yan has been flying back and forth abroad and in China. Zhao Wenxuan occasionally harasses me, and Ji-Yan often causes trouble for his company, which makes Song Sisi hate me very much, but she can't do anything about it. He and Zhao Wenxuan are also very funny. They are obviously in harmony but still don't want to divorce. I am different. With a handsome man by my side and money in my hands, what kind of life do I want? I don't have. Both families knew that Ji-Yan was pursuing me, and they were a little surprised but very supportive. But I still didn't agree to him. After all, when I broke up, he didn't have any reluctance. Now I have to let him taste the love I didn't get. The full text is over. The day after my father passed away, my sister came back with her boyfriend to fight with me for the family property. What a coincidence, this man was the scumbag who told me a week ago that he found out that I was not his true love, so he wanted to break up with me. My mother and I sat in the living room, looking at the two people showing off their power with cold eyes, and couldn't help sneering. One was my ex-boyfriend and the other was my sister, and they wanted to collude with each other to fight against us. It's a pity that she is my father's daughter but not my mother's, so my sister's family property is mine. My father was sick and dying, and before he died, he called us all back and said that he wanted to distribute the property. I didn't want to go back at first. A man who relied on my mother to make a fortune, what could he have? But my mother told me to go back and watch a show, so I decided to go back. When I went to the hospital and saw the man lying on the hospital bed with tubes all over his body, I didn't feel the slightest bit of fluctuation in my heart. A man who cheats in marriage should die. This is what he deserves. Retribution. There was a glimmer in his eyes when he saw me, as if he wanted to say something. Ruan is here, come and sit for a while, we will start when everyone is here. My mother is sitting on the sofa next to me with the computer on her knees, her hands are still typing. Looking at my mother, I can't help but give a thumbs up in my heart. That's it, what kind of man is needed? Having money is the bottom line. Mom, Song Sisi hasn't come yet. I glanced at my dad. He is still looking at me. There seems to be a trace of tears in his eyes. I raised my eyebrows, said nothing, took out my phone to reply to the message. Looking at the man who sent the message, I think it's time to break up with him. What's the point of keeping a man who only knows how to find ways to ask me for gifts all day long? I'm in the hospital now, I don't have time, let's talk about it when I go back. If there is anything, you can help me pay the money first. The makeup gift box I bought for you before cost me more than half a month's pocket money. Looking at the display over there that the other party is typing, I wanted to laugh. I thought even that 10 yuan was too expensive. I'm afraid my face will get ruined if I use a full set of cosmetics. Then come over tonight and get it and return it. I don't even know the brand of that stuff and I'm not used to it. After saying that, I was too lazy to reply. After all, Song Sisi was here and the lawyer was here too. Dad, are you okay? I had something to do at school today, so I was late. As soon as Song Sisi came in, she went straight to my dad. Seeing the deep love between them as father and daughter, I'm used to it. My mom didn't even raise her head. Now that Mr. Tang and Mr. Song were all here, I started lawyerly asked my mom and dad for their opinions. My dad was still holding Song Sisi's hand and motioned to Song Sisi to help him up. Song Sisi moved the seat higher with a smile on her face. If you didn't know, you would think that the inheritance was all his. She laughed so happily. After my dad sat up, he took a few breaths and asked the lawyer to get ready to start. My mom was still typing on the keyboard. Wait for me one more minute and it will be done soon. Lawyerly glanced at my dad, and then stood there with his eyes on the nose and his nose on the heart, not participating. My dad's face looked a little bad, and there was a hint of anger in my mom's eyes. My mom ignored him, and after she was done, she put away the computer and sat there watching. Her hair was well groomed, and she looked like a strong woman. The will was prepared by Mr. Song before, and it would be legally effective as long as it was signed. She was about to read it once, but was interrupted by my dad who raised his hand saying, "No need to read it. After I'm gone, lawyerly, you can announce it again." Saying this may have almost cost him half his life, and he was gasping for breath after he finished speaking. Lawyerly was stunned when he heard this, as if he didn't expect my dad to be like this, but my mom seemed to have expected it, and didn't say anything and seemed to be in a good mood. Song Sisi was anxious for Dad. "Why didn't you let lawyerly finish reading?" My dad patted his hands and said, "Don't worry, Dad's things are big, most of them are left to you, but I have to wait until you get married to give them to you, and don't compete with your sister for them." You know, Song Sisi smiled after hearing what he said, and then started to say sweet words to my dad. Lawyerly coughed awkwardly, then left immediately after finishing the matter. The matter was almost handled, and I didn't understand what show my mom wanted me to watch. When my mom and I left, Song Sisi was still inside. The last words Song Wentao said to me were, "Wanruan, Dad is sorry for you, but Dad loves you too." He seemed to want to give me some fatherly love before he died, but he seemed to have forgotten that I couldn't get that thing when I was a child, and I don't need it when I grow up. When I walked to the hospital gate, I watched my mom and my dad live separately over the years, and he lived a better life. "Mom, what show do you want me to watch? I'm a little curious. It can't be that you just watch Song Sisi and my dad disgusting us. Why are you in such a hurry? You will see this show sooner or later." Wanruan, remember, never trust men. Sweet words from a person. When my mother said this, she seemed to be recalling something. I nodded and agreed to him. I didn't ask him to send me and took a taxi back to school. In the car, I couldn't help thinking about the life over the years. My father kept indulging Song Sisi, as if Song Sisi was only his daughter. Back in the dormitory, they were arguing about something. Oh, it should be said that Jiwon was arguing with the two of them. When they saw me open the door and come in, the three of them looked back at me. Jiwon looked at me with concern, while Liang Jing and Li Huan looked gloating. I was a little curious. What happened to make them show such expressions? What's the use of some people being good-looking? Their boyfriends still ran away with rich people. Liang Jing glanced at me, then slowly returned to her seat. I was a little confused. Zhao Wenchuan ran away with a rich man. Is there anyone in this city who is richer than my family? Oh, there really is. Ji Wen's cousin Ji Yan is richer than my family. But I haven't heard that Ji Yan likes men. I ignored him and walked to Ji Wen. He handed me the phone. Looking at the two people who were as close as an arrow on the phone, I felt like vomiting. Aren't these Zhao Wenchuan and Song Sisi? I don't even know when they got together. I gave Ji Wen a reassuring look and asked him to send these photos to me. I took my clothes and planned to take a shower. The smell of disinfectant on my body was too unpleasant. After taking a shower, I simply took care of my skin and prepared to order takeout. Then I saw the message sent by Zhao Wenchuan 2 minutes ago. "Tangruan, if you don't want to buy it, forget it. Are you free tonight? There is something I want to talk to you about." I haven't settled the score with him yet, but he came to me. "But I don't want to go out tonight. I don't have time tonight. It's too cold outside and I don't want to go out." After sending the message, I thought about exposing him and Song Sisi in this way, but I didn't expect him to send it first. "Tangruan, I thought about it and decided to tell you that I recently found that I just like you. Now I met a girl I want to love, so let's break up." Looking at the message he sent, I was a little angry. But someone else broke up before I mentioned it. But let him mention it anyway. I was pestered by him for too long in the beginning, and I had no choice but to agree. Well then let's break up. After sending the message, my takeaway arrived. I went to pick it up, but when I came back I didn't expect to receive another message. Then you should return me the gifts I gave you and the money I spent on you before. After all, we have broken up. Looking at this message, I couldn't help rolling my eyes. I felt so sorry for the money he spent. Soon he sent me a bill with all his records on it. The total was 4,905. He said it would be 4,900 after rounding off. I smiled and sent him 5,000. I'll give him the 100. Then you should return me the watch I gave you, and the rest I won't settle with you about his. With just this little money he has, it's not even a fraction of the watch I gave him. I'll send it to you tomorrow, but if you don't have money, don't pretend. Giving me a high-end imitation watch is so embarrassing, it hasn't even cost 1,000. This time I was really pissed off and laughed. You dog man who doesn't know the value of goods. It's A-grade goods. Remember to send it to me tomorrow. My dad didn't make it through this winter. He passed away the day after we met. When I received the news, I felt nothing in my heart, as if he was just a stranger. Before going to the hospital, I also went to pick up the watch for Zhao Wenxuan, your so-called true love is Song Cici. I still couldn't help asking more. He seemed a little surprised and a little angry. You know this, don't even think about causing trouble for him. He has the Tang group behind him. You can't afford to offend him, and I really liked you. Don't make it too ugly. I couldn't help laughing. Song Cici. She is the daughter of a mistress, and you are not worthy of saying that Tang group is behind her. Then you better hold on to this golden thigh. I hope you two can have the last laugh. Then she turned around and took a taxi to the hospital, too lazy to look at the gloomy Zhao Wenxuan. When I arrived at the hospital, almost everyone had arrived, and my grandmother had also arrived. Song Cici was comforting her, and she was crying like a tearful person, but I don't know if she was really sad. I walked to my mother and said, just cremate him directly. Shaoli, you handle the follow-up matters. My mother ordered expressionlessly. Shaoli nodded and then left. Woman, you just wanted to cremate him after a Tao left. Do you have any conscience? When the old lady heard what my mother said, she immediately stood up and argued without any pain in her waist and legs. If you don't cremate him, will you keep him for the new year? Otherwise you can handle it. It's your son anyway. My mother folded her arms and looked at the two people in front of her. When Song Cici heard it, she immediately interrupted and said, Auntie, Dad just left you and Grandma. She just wanted to see Dad more. That's your dad, not my dad. If you have the ability, go and deal with the things later. If you don't have the ability, don't bother me here. Song Cici saw that my mom didn't eat, so she turned around and fired at me. Sister said, no matter how she said he is our dad and you just came, you didn't even see him for the last time, and when I see him now I think of him and Zhao Wenxuan as expected. There is a mother who has a mistress, and the daughter is not a good thing. What's good about it? If you really can't bear it, go and accompany them. It's just the right time for a family of three to be reunited. I leaned against the wall, looked at him with a playful look and said, his face turned pale. The old lady was also there saying that I had no conscience. I smiled, not caring at all. In this family except my mom, who really treats me well. Why should I rush to be a filial son after he dies? Song Cici has been pretending to be very bad wrong. He deceived so many people. The man in the photo may never know until his death that the photos that caused him and my mother to break up completely were taken by his good daughter. Thinking about the scenes I witnessed when I was a child, I think that sentence is right. Some men are really the most content only when they are hung on the wall. I don't know if the old lady and Song Cici were tired of crying. They whispered to each other and looked at me from time to time. I walked out of the hospital and shivered in the cold wind. This winter is colder than usual. I didn't expect to see Ji Yin in the hospital again. Her face was a little pale and she almost blurted out worried words. Fortunately, I reacted in time. I wanted to leave but she stopped me. I got in Ji Yan's car. I didn't know what to say. I used to be the one who always found topics to talk about, but now I don't want to. I'll take you to dinner first. I looked at the time and it was indeed time for dinner. If it were the past, I would have agreed long ago. If I don't want to eat, can you take me back to school? After she finished speaking, the atmosphere in the car suddenly became cold. I waited for Ji Yin to drive me out of the car. She stared at me for a few seconds with a helpless expression. Then can you accompany me to eat something? I have a stomachache and just came out of the hospital. His voice was very soft and gentle just like before. Looking at his pitiful look, I felt a little soft-hearted. Why don't you drive? He chuckled softly and then started the car. I despised myself in my heart for making you soft-hearted. The place to eat was the Sichuan restaurant he had brought me to before. The dishes on the table were spicier than the other. You had a stomachache and still ate these. I was a little angry. Don't you care about your body at all? He was stunned for a moment. He ordered this for you. I drank the porridge. I blinked hard and ate the rice silently. I heard Jiwen say that you broke up. I don't know why, but I felt that his tone was a little cheerful. I thought of that cheating man and looked at the one in front of me. Jian, I was so angry. Why do you care about me, Tangerwan? Can you please not act on impulse? How can you have such bad taste? I don't know if the food today is too spicy. I couldn't stop crying. Yes, I have bad taste, that's why I like you. After saying that, I threw down my chopsticks and wanted to leave. He grabbed me and became a little at a loss when he saw the tears in my eyes. I didn't mean that. I was wrong. Let's eat first, okay? He pulled me back to sit down. I wiped my tears and felt a little embarrassed. It was your fault. If he had done this at the beginning, would we have broken up? But I also know that I deserved it. I had to hang myself on a tree. Ji-Yen was busy wiping my tears. I suspected that she had become a different person. After all, Ji-Yen was not like this before. On the way to send me back, Ji-Yen kept looking for topics to talk about. I occasionally paid attention to her and looked at a father and daughter passing by the window. The smiles on their faces reminded me of my dad. His departure seems to have no impact on my life, but the inheritance he left behind, even if he doesn't like me, will not be taken by Song Sisi alone. Song Wentao is gone. I wonder who can protect him. Song Sisi, your good days are over from now on. In the next week, after dealing with Song Wentao's affairs, I finally felt relieved. In school, almost everyone knew the news that Zhao Wenxuan and Song Sisi were together. Even though they were not from the same school, they were always together. Some people felt sorry for me and thought that Zhao Wenxuan chose a rich woman instead of a poor guy like me. These people were really blind and mistook pearls for Elmwood. Zhao Wenxuan would cry then. Jiwen was almost angry when he heard the discussions, but I was not very angry. Instead, I was looking forward to seeing them get slapped in the face. After dinner, I went to the supermarket to buy things, but I didn't expect it till I met Zhao Wenxuan, who seemed to be waiting for someone. When I walked towards him, many people looked at us with a look of surprise on their faces. We had already said that we had broken up, so let's not bother each other anymore. This way everyone would be. Zhao Wenxuan's face was full of anger and his voice was quite loud. You stopped me from taking things. Get out of the way. His tone was very cold, as if we had never met before. He was choked by me and obediently moved aside. I took a bottle of lemonade from the freezer, but I couldn't help it when I left. Don't flatter yourself. People around were whispering. Song Sisi saw me and walked over quickly, holding Zhao Wenxuan's arm. What are you doing? I don't care. Shall we? Wenxuan, why are you talking to? Miss Tang is still talking in the same gossipy way, but it seems that Song Sisi doesn't want to expose my relationship with her now. Zhao Wenxuan hurriedly explained to her, and it seems that he really likes her tricks. I walked to Song Sisi's side. He lowered his head and whispered in her ear. You are the only one who treats the man you found in the garbage dump as a treasure. Do you think he would still be with you if he knew that you were not the one with Tang's background? Song Sisi looked at me defensively, and the next second his expression became pitiful, as if I had bullied him. Tang Ruan, what did you say to Sisi? Zhao Wenxuan patted Song Sisi on the back and whispered to comfort her. Ruan, why don't you drink green tea? The packaging looks like it has the fragrance of tea. Jiwen couldn't help but mock them as he looked at them. Song Sisi's face turned pale with anger, but she didn't dare to refute. Jiwen pulled Zhao Wenxuan, who wanted to argue, away. I met Zhao Wenxuan and Song Sisi in the next few days, but they both avoided me. At noon, my mother called me to go home and said that the show was about to start. I went back with my bag when I heard it. After all, I really liked the scene of slapping Song Sisi in the face. When I got home, my mother sat in the living room drinking tea. So comfortable, Mom, I'm back. I walked to my mother and sat down, and took a piece of my favorite snack. By the way, are you busy with study recently? If not, come to the company to familiarize yourself with the business. After all, the company will be yours in the future. My mother put down the documents in her hand and looked at me. I couldn't help but exclaimed in my heart. Really don't want to. Well, I'm a little busy recently. I don't want to manage the company, but the old ones are still the best. My mother saw it at a glance. You can come to the company to find me tomorrow. I will arrange things for you. Or you can go to Ji-Yen and study with her. You have been with Ji-Yen. No one knows about this, although you broke up. But it is better to go to her than to work under my mother. The female devil in the mall is not called that for nothing. I went to the bathroom, and when I came back, I saw Song Sisi and Zhao Wenxuan sitting opposite my mother. I didn't expect him to bring Zhao Wenxuan back. Could it be there is true love between the two of them? I didn't sit back, but sent a message to my mother, and then secretly read it from behind. My mother frowned when she saw the message, and then looked in my direction. Song Sisi and Zhao Wenxuan also turned their heads, and I immediately shrank back. It was a close call, Auntie. My dad is gone now, so shouldn't the things he left for me be returned to me? Song Sisi pulled Zhao Wenxuan to sit aside and look at my mother. She no longer pretended to be pitiful like before. Her arrogant look made me a little angry. Of course, what's yours is yours. I don't even look down on those things. This is what your dad left for you. You can take a look. If you have any questions, you can ask lawyerly. As she said that, she handed him the document. Song Sisi took it with a smile on her face, but as she looked at it, the smile gradually disappeared. How is this possible? Did you and lawyerly change my dad's will? Song Sisi looked at my mother fiercely. I was a little curious. What did my father leave for him that made him so angry? Miss Song, you can't say this casually. If you don't believe it, you can check it out. We are all fair and just. Lawyerly looked at Song Sisi seriously, and Mr. Song said that these things can only be given to you when you get married. When Song Sisi heard this, she was still muttering impossible in her mouth. Zhao Wenxuan was a little confused about the situation, but he was still gently comforting Song Sisi. What do you think Song Wentao can leave for you? The company belongs to my Tang family. Do you still want my company? My mother looked at Song Sisi and couldn't help but sneer. How could my father only give me such a small share? The company should be mine. I don't believe it. Song Sisi looked at my mother with a fierce expression. My mother drank a sip of tea leisurely. Sure enough, she was the same as your mother. She was a white sheep that could not be tamed. You wolf, I have done my best by giving you the shares. After all, she is the daughter of a mistress, and you can't show your wealth to the public. When Zhao Wenxuan heard this, his eyes changed completely when he looked at Song Sisi. He was surprised and opened his mouth but said nothing. When you get married, I will give you all these things, not a penny less. Leave my house now. After saying that, my mother stood up and prepared to go upstairs. After Zhao Wenxuan saw my mother leave, his eyes stayed on the place where my mother had just sat. I don't know what she was looking at until Song Sisi came to her senses and pulled her away. She retracted her gaze and turned her head to take another look when she left. I was a little curious, so I walked over to take a look after they left, but there was nothing on the sofa except my bag. So this is the boyfriend you dated before. My mother forked a piece of steak into her mouth, then looked at me with disgust. I nodded. Head, I really regretted agreeing to Zhao Wenxuan. You are worthy of being my daughter. Your vision of men is as bad as mine. I was speechless after hearing this. It's okay to scold me, but why did you scold yourself too? You are young and frivolous, and your eyesight is poor. As I said this, I glanced at my mobile phone. Jian will teach you, but what benefits can I get? Ah, you still want benefits. I thought he had changed, but I didn't expect him to be still the same. The Jian that day seemed to be a flash in the pan. I wouldn't go if there were no benefits. The next second, the news of the test came. Come tomorrow morning and don't be late. Hehe, my evil plan succeeded. As you command, I didn't plan to go back to school after dinner. I will stay here tonight. My mother is not leaving tonight either. He flies everywhere every day. I haven't lived with him for a long time. I really admire my mother. Even if there is a failed marriage, so what? Life is still going on very comfortable, so he kept most of his shares. He not only gave it to me but also left the company to me. This surprised me a little. After all, considering how good Song Wentao was to Song Sisi, I thought he would leave it all to him. Although Song Sisi didn't get many shares, the dividends in a year were at least hundreds of millions. Maybe he felt guilty before he died. But he gave Song Sisi all the money for the house, which was quite a lot in total. I nodded. It didn't matter to me. I wasn't short of money anyway, and I didn't need Song Wentao's belated concern. My mother took me to school the next day. After class, I went straight to Ji's group to have a meal. When Jiwen heard that I was going to find his cousin, he ran super fast, as if there was a ghost chasing him. It was almost 10:30 when I arrived. When I arrived at the front desk, the young lady was very polite. There was no plot like in the novel. I laughed as I thought about it. It must be it was recently affected by Ji1. Dong, I gasped in pain and smiled foolishly. Jian's low voice sounded. You were too cruel, right? I touched my head. It wouldn't be swollen, right? Was he taking revenge on me for breaking up? He was also scared, so he put away his smile and leaned over to look at my forehead. I'm sorry, it's a little red. He touched me gently and glanced at the eyes of the people next to him. His old face turned red and I pulled him into the elevator. What's wrong? It doesn't hurt anymore. He didn't know why. It hurts so much and it's all your fault. You have to compensate me. I took the opportunity to make a request. It's all my fault. What compensation do you want? Go ahead. He smiled helplessly. I want to eat something delicious. The elevator arrived and he pulled me out. I was still talking about what I wanted to eat, and I didn't pay any attention to the eyes of his secretaries. I'll have someone buy it for you later. Sit down first. I'll get the ice pack. He pressed me on the sofa and said. Then he went to the icebox and took out ice packs, as if we were still a couple and hadn't broken up. I felt a little regretful. I was too impulsive at the time, but only a little. In such cold weather, the ice cubes were placed on my head through a handkerchief, and it was still very cold. How about I do it myself? Looking at him squatting in front of me, the oppression was too strong. Don't move, I'll do it. It's a little swollen. Looking at his somewhat guilty face, I shook my head and said, It's okay. Maybe my skin is too tender so it looks serious. Hearing what I said, he lowered his head and looked at me, then suddenly laughed. Well, it's indeed too tender. Why do I feel like we are not talking about the same topic? After the pain on my forehead disappeared, Ji Yan continued to work. If you want to eat something later, just tell Secretary Zhou directly, or order it yourself and I will reimburse you. It's rare that he can take the time to look at me in his busy schedule. Since he said so, then I won't be polite. After ordering the food, I plan to watch a movie to kill time. Seeing the message from Liang Jing's circle of friends, I raised my eyebrows. The event was held in my house and Song Sisi didn't know yet. The house was written in my name. In order to prevent Song Sisi from suffering in my house, Song Wentao gave the house he gave me to Song Sisi to live in. He said that we were all family, so what's wrong with living there for a while? Song Sisi's vanity was at work. Almost not many people knew that she and I were half-sisters, so there was a good show to watch tonight. After dinner, Ji Yan transferred money to me to reimburse for lunch. Looking at the long string of zeros, my eyes twitched. It wasn't enough for a meal. Although I was tempted, I didn't claim it. I would have to trouble him in the next few days, so let it go. You just follow me for the next 2 days. After all, your mother gave you to me and I have to teach you something. As he said, he asked someone to bring in a chair and put it next to him. He also brought in some documents for me. He saw that I was a little surprised. Doesn't he worry that I will leak secrets? You are so lazy. I feel relieved. I feel despised by him for the whole afternoon. He has been teaching me wholeheartedly, but only I know how much I have learned. Please come and watch the fun. It's almost time to get off work. I suddenly had an idea. Why don't I take him with me? Will the effect be better? Seeing that he didn't look interested, I still dragged him there. We ate something casually and it was almost time. Ji-Yen was familiar with this place. It wasn't until he opened the door opposite my house that I realized. When did you buy the house? Doesn't that mean you are neighbors with Song Sisi? Don't think too much. He bought it a long time ago but never lived here. He opened the door and let me in. When I saw the decoration inside, I was suspicious. I glanced at him. When did he like this style of decoration? I'll have someone send the property certificate over. Did you know that the person living opposite is Song Sisi? Although he doesn't live here, maybe they have met before. He tugged at his tie and pinched the bridge of his nose. I've dealt with so many documents today. He must be very tired when he called me, so I consciously quieted down and didn't bother him. Listening to the noise next door getting more and more lively, I glanced at Ji-Yen. He seemed to be asleep. I quietly walked to the window and called Uncle Lu to bring the property management and security up. I originally wanted to go there in person, but since he was asleep, I didn't make a fuss. I asked Uncle Lu to keep talking to me, and then put on headphones to prepare to listen to the show. It would be even better if there was a picture. I sat up straight when I heard the knock on the door opposite. The show is finally about to begin. Is there anything wrong? Song Sisi's voice. The sound came from the headphones, and it was a bit noisy. There should be a lot of people, both men and women. The owner received a report that someone had illegally occupied his house. Then the music and talking stopped. How is it possible? This house is mine. I know it without even looking. Song Sisi's expression now must be very embarrassed. Then you take out the real estate certificate and let us see it. This gentleman has a real estate certificate. At this time, Uncle Lu appeared. Miss Song, this house was given to our young lady by Mr. Song. You can live in it for a few days and it will be yours. Seeing Uncle Lu, Song Sisi's voice became a little gnashing of teeth. He was the one who asked you to come. So please move out. It's better not to do things like occupying the magpie's nest. Listening to Uncle Lu's sarcastic voice, I could hardly hold back my laughter. It seems that I have to give Uncle Lu a raise. This house is not Sisi's, then whose is it? Sisi is not Tang's, the eldest lady of the group?